This is going to be another episode of our Untitled and Undocumented series. So it was funny because when I did that, I literally just named it and then told you later, "Hey, dog, I named this and I put your status out there, dog."
Yeah,
I'm
bro.
sorry.
Why are you capitalizing on the fact that I don't got papers?
Dog, because it's a vibe.
Is it?
Dog, at this point.
At this point, it's a vibe. It was not a vibe when we were like growing up.
No, when we were growing up, it's weird. When we were growing up, things were okay. My wife told me the story about when she was younger.
Pause. You started, but I just wanted to congratulate you on being married.
Yo, dog, thanks.
Yeah.
With that, should we just fuck it? Let's go into that whole thing. So, okay. I'm married now, and you are.
I'm engaged.
You're engaged now,
yeah.
And our relationship started right around the same time.
It did.
So this is kind of like
yeah, we're
heading down in this weird way, like the same path of love.
Yeah. So like, the way I see it now is if years from now, you get that positive pregnancy test, you got to text me, and I got to like catch up. Basically, at this point.
Yeah. Like, it's weird now because we're at that place where, like, if I find out you're pregnant, I'm like, oh, no, shit, dude, what are you going to do?
Okay.
It's not that anymore.
Yes. No. Okay. Yeah, I've been talking to Elvira and a couple friends about that, actually, because the way we grew up and, like, going to Jersey Village, like, it wasn't that bad, but, like, there was a lot of pregnant girls in high school. Like,
hella pregnant girls.
It was a normal thing. Like, we saw that a lot.
And it was crazy because it was always, obviously, as weird. It's always the hot ones that you're like, damn, that's the girl that you want to be with. And then you find out they got pregnant. You're like, oof, good thing I wasn't with that girl. Yeah. Like, immediately, you're like, oof. Dodged a bullet on that one, dog. Good thing I didn't have the...
Yeah. And another reason why I wouldn't go to our 10-year reunion, I just feel like it'd be, like, weird and sad in a way.
Dude, it would be so fucking weird.
But at the same time, anyway... I think that it got so like put into our brains, and especially like in our community, it's a problem. So like at least my parents were like, my mom was like, you can't have if you get a girl pregnant, she was literally like, I'm gonna kick you out and I'm gonna bring them in. And I was like, oh no.
I actually have a white friend who that is the situation.
Yeah.
But not like they kick. It's like, kids are involved and all.
Yeah.
So she lives with the parents, and like he doesn't. He lives on his own and stuff like that. And like and it's like, dog, how uncomfortable would that be? Like you're trying to come home, and it's like you have to deal with your ex. You have to dodge your ex in the kitchen.
Sure,
that's
crazy. But I think like growing up, I was like so focused on like kind of go back to what we were saying, like so focused on not being the stereotype. So I was like. When I turned 20 and I didn't have a kid, I was like sick. I survived teen pregnancy. And then now I'm at a place where like my friends are having kids and I'm like no longer worried. And I'm like, oh no, like you're going to be poor forever. Like, what did you do?
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, all right, sick. Like you both have, like my homie that's about to get married in January, like, dude, they both have like stable careers. It's like a beautiful thing. They're like madly in love. And that was like nothing but over the moon for them. First time that it ever happened, where I wasn't like in the back of my head like freaking out for these people.
Now I'm like jealous on the low.
Yeah,
because I'm just like, how come y'all get to have a kid already? Like, damn, I'm like still trying to map my life out. I'm
okay with not having a kid yet because I feel like I'm still a kid inside.
Me too, but I've also seen so many kids who have kids where I'm like, you can still like be a kid and have a kid.
Sure.
In the sense that like. You get to kind of show your kid likeness on your kid so then they feel like it's okay to be themselves even as an adult, I think. Sometimes I think it becomes that thing where we feel like being an adult means we have to stop having fun when it wasn't working for you.
It wasn't working for me. I didn't want the listeners to be like, so I'm just gonna put that down. But you were saying?
But, It's like, I think that when we feel like, oh, we have to be adults now, that strictly just means we have responsibility, but that doesn't mean we can't have fun with responsibility. You know what I mean? Sure. It just like all of a sudden people think like, oh, you're an adult now, time to stop having fun.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't I think that's what I think sends a lot of bad messages to the kids now, where they don't feel like they want to be adults, or they don't want to leave their parents' house because they don't want to then feel like they have to actually be an adult and stop having fun.
I mean, full disclosure, I've been an adult for like 5 years now. 25. Which, in your eyes, I'm 30, which, like, that's
I know,
really
I'm only 24, so... and I look way older than you.
Yeah, for sure. Like, vote who do you think... If you didn't know... Like, we just said our age. But if you didn't know, like, just coming in fresh, we didn't say our age, you're older.
100%.
Yeah.
If you see me and my dad, you don't... It's so ridiculous how every single time that I go out with my dad, they think we're brothers.
Yeah.
And every time that I'm, like, somewhere with my mom and I say the word mom, they freak the fuck out, because at the wedding, the DJ thought that was Alicia. Because he hadn't met us. We had just been talking, and I was like, I go up to him and start asking him these questions. Then my mom comes up, and I asked him, and I was like, I introduced myself.
Your parents are pretty young.
They are young, and they do look young, so I get that. But it's like, I always am like right there. Yeah. I'm either his brother, and if I'm the brother, I'm usually the older brother. And then, and then, like, it's the type of shit when you're out with your parents and they try to give you the check. You're like, damn, dog, like, I wasn't paying today.
Yeah. No, dude, I want to be on, like, my Pharrell stuff, you know? I want to, like, 10 years from now look even younger than I did.
He put his skincare routine out.
Yo, me and Elvira are like, all right. Because you know how he did that GQ video?
Yeah.
So we're, like, thinking... By the way, Elvira is my fiance. Anyway, we're thinking about. We were like, all right, we should, because I was like, I told her like, hey, well, she showed it to me too. We kind of like showed it to each other at the same time about like the skincare thing.
Yeah,
and we're like thinking like, Loki, like, should we buy this? Like,
I was looking at it, and I mean, I didn't dig deep, and because I didn't want to dig too deep to where I actually saw what he was using, because then in my head I thought I was just gonna buy it. So I was like, let me chill.
Yeah, but he also put a video on GQ like going over his skin routine. So I feel like if I buy it, then I have to watch the video, because then I'm gonna do it wrong.
No, I don't even know how I don't think I saw the official video. I just saw like a snippet of a video of him doing that, and I'm like, damn, because he's really talking about like just all this rejuvenation. There's a lot to skincare that I think I'm scared of, because I also think it's easy to mess up and go overboard, and so many people like mess their skin up trying to put random shit on it, or like buy this because they think that this is going to work, but everyone's skin's different. So I get mad scared for skin, because it's like, what works for one person's skin doesn't work for another person's skin. Yeah. And then you know how many people are just like, oh my gosh, your skin looks so good. Oh, I just drink water. You know what I mean? So I don't even fucking know.
Just drink water.
Don't.
Anyway,
I'd be using Dove soap, and I'd just be like, you know.
Oh, I use the Method Man thing, because I feel like
if it has the word man in it, then
well, no, I feel like it looks cool. Like the bottle's cool, and it's like slightly more. It's like a little bit more expensive than like the Old Spice stuff I was using in college, so it makes me feel more mature.
Shouts out marketing, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, I was looking at first glance it's more expensive, but when I was looking at like how much ounces it has versus the Old Spice one, it actually has more, but it's a smaller bottle, so you like off the hand think, oh, that's more expensive, and it's like, little hell no, like I'm gonna get this big Old Spice thing, and it's like, no, this one's actually
you know what I realized that I trick myself in order to not feel like a sucker for like leaning into marketing, because I'm so susceptible to marketing. Instead of just admitting that I'm like I will convince myself that the reason that I bought it was because I'll be like, damn, they marketed that so well. You know, shouts out to them, their team. I'm going to support them for that.
They deserve
Even though I know that I just got, but I'm going to act like I know that I'm getting got, but act, you know what I'm saying? Like, regardless, they're getting the check. So,
hey, someone's got to eat.
I'm saying, dog, it's... I don't know, man.
But back to the original thing was, yes, I have DACA. So I'm not fully undocumented. Jeez.
But like, I was always...
Dude, and no, I'm not here to destroy America. Stop thinking that.
I wanted to... no, like, dude, every single time, because I feel like the media just blasts shit, and then when you see it, you're just like, what the fuck? And there's so much uproar, but then nothing actually happens.
Yeah.
So it's like, when I started seeing all the shit about dreamers, immediately I was like, yo, dog, you straight? Like, that's just immediately what I feel. But then, like, if imagine if there was no media or no news talking about all these potential things or things that are going on,
and they just did it,
or they just like, you just see that like everything kind of stays the same. I think that we see shit, and then like after that we assume, oh shit, all this is going on, and we start freaking the fuck out, and then things just regulate themselves, and then things go back, and then we stop talking about it. Like, there's so many things that we just stopped talking about. So much shit.
It's funny that when you brought up, like, when you started thinking about it, it made him. I just realized that when I got DACA, we were in high school. Like, you knew me. Like, I remember I told you, and you like shook my hand. And you said, "Welcome to America," and I said, "I've been here."
Dude, that's so.
which is like, it felt like that, but in reality, like, it was a little harder when I was like getting jobs, because people like they would like act weird. There was this one thing, I don't know if I told you about it, but it happened when I was at SFA, and I got hired on my first job at Career Services, where I was gonna like critique people's resumes and blah 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 blah. It was a cool place to work at. They fired me. It's fine. So basically, when I first got hired, you have to go to like the HR department, do all the paperwork, blah blah blah. Like normal, I just got hired for this job type stuff.
Yeah.
And I was doing the paperwork. I was talking to this lady. She was being super nice, as you normally are to strangers. No one's just like randomly a butthole.
Mean to you.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Exactly. So like we're going back and forth, and like she's like telling me how to like fill it out, because I think up to this point I had really only done this like twice. Like up to that point, I think I only had like 3 or 4 other jobs, and I was super nervous because I was also like, this is like for a college, like this is like legit. It's like I'm going to school here, and I don't know. I was super nervous about the job itself. Like I was like, I can't lose this. Like I need to get paid and make money. So I'm like doing the paperwork, and then she's like going through it. And then on it, like, you know how you always get the question of like, are you a citizen? And then I was like, I like checked no. And then it was like, are you a resident? And I checked no. And then she's like reading it, and she's like, what? And then like, I don't know, like it just got weird. Like her whole vibe changed. She like started talking to me like I didn't know English, and like I wasn't just like talking to her for like, I didn't have, like we didn't have a conversation like leading up to this point. And then, so whatever, we did the paperwork, and then I had to watch like this orientation video, and afterwards they would give you this card that said you completed it, that you go back and you give to your manager, and the color of it just happens to be green.
Oh.
and then she looks at me and she says, "Hey, go watch the video. When you finish watching the video, I'm gonna give you your green card. But wait, it's not that kind of green card."
She said that?
She said that to me. and I just said, I didn't know what to say. Like I was like I needed this job, so I couldn't just be like, F you, like I needed this. So I was just like, yeah, I figured, like I know, like I would.
Yeah, like I'm not marrying this job.
Yeah, I was also like, are you? I didn't know if she was trying to belittle me, but it felt like she was, and I was just like, whatever. And I was really upset, but it is what it is. I've gotten over it since, but like that sucks.
Have you though?
No, I have. But yeah, like,
dude, that's mad wild. Like, it's so crazy that literally the second that people, it's like if you talk to somebody on the phone and you don't know what they look like, and then the second that you see what they look like, your whole demeanor changes.
Yeah,
like that whole thing was like appearances mean something. I feel like that's so, like, a lot of the reason why a lot of like people or personalities or even musicians in certain ways want to keep an anonymity, because it's like, the second that you see them or even see them in a different way, like the Billie Eilish thing where she wears all those big clothes so she's not judged by her body and shit, because it's like, once you find something that you can judge, or once you find something that the demeanor changes, the way you view them changes, the way you see what they do changes, and it's so crazy.
And for the longest, I wouldn't tell people about it. Like, people didn't know. Like, if people asked, I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm from Houston. I was born here." But obviously that was a lie.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like I would trust someone enough where I'd be like, "Yeah, actually, this is
I'm
my
gonna keep
story."
it real with you, dog.
Yeah.
Dog, I just saw ice, and I'm just letting you know the reason I'm hiding my face.
Yeah. Basically, no.
Dude, I feel bad after hearing that story because I feel like I take my citizenship for granted in the sense that with jobs, every single job, I'm literally thinking statistically, every single job, I've always forgotten to bring my social security card. Every single fucking time. I worked in Louisiana.
Yeah.
And fucking forgot my green card. I mean, not my green card. My social security number.
Yeah, I was about to say.
My social security card.
Here, dog. What do you mean your green
My
card?
social security card here. I had to get it like faxed and all this kind of stuff, and it was a whole mess. Every single time. You know how many times my mom's had to drop off my social security card? How many times I've even the most recent job, luckily it was close by. I had to come by on my lunch real quick. I always forget that thing.
That's wild.
I just be forgetting. I'm like, oh yeah, it's just there. You know what I'm saying?
No, I can't be forgetting. They'll think it's like fake.
You know what I'm saying? Like
something wild. Yeah. No.
I don't know, man. I have a few things that I wanted to get your opinion on.
Okay.
It seems like the way that it was always like the people on the right get Rona. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, if you're going to like protests, that's not, you're not going to catch Rona there. But, if you're going to like Trump rallies and stuff, you're catching Rona. So, and then like at work, I'm the liberal. So it just made me so mad that I was the one that fucking caught it.
Was it from the wedding?
I don't even know, man. It's so, I didn't do tracing. I didn't do any of that shit, so I don't know.
Sure.
Like, it's one of those things where like people who went to the wedding got it, but we were also all with each other before and after. So
sure,
I don't know.
I went to your bachelor party.
Exactly. So like, but nobody from the bachelor party got it.
Mm-hmm.
So except for me.
Interesting.
So like nobody from the bachelor party got it. Nobody that I was in close proximity. Like, I don't understand 100% how it works because, it's like, I don't know, you can't see particles.
Sure.
But, like, people that I was right next to all the time with didn't get it. And then, like, you're with somebody and then they, you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know where it came from. We didn't do any tracing, but me and Alicia both got it. Mm-hmm. And that's what I know. And then I know my mom got it. So it was like us three. Mm-hmm. And so we just didn't know where it came from. We just don't know where it came from. We don't know
if someone... Who did it hit the hardest? That's
Huh?
Who did it hit the hardest?
Probably my mom. Like, Alicia got it. Like, she was feeling symptoms and they were like, it sucked. But, like, my mom seemed to be exhibiting some, like, they were probably neck and neck. Mm-hmm. I think. I mean, I wasn't there to see it because we were quarantined, so one of them might just be exaggerating. Sure. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I wasn't the one exaggerating. Like, I'm a huge baby when it comes
Me
to
too.
Like,
so I don't know. Like, one could have been exaggerating, but they were both actually feeling symptoms. I just got tested only because she came out positive.
Yo, for the past 2 weeks, I really thought I was gonna have it, and I've gotten tested twice since. It sucks. I hate it.
Dude, I got tested so many times. I'm so phased by I'm so, like, doing that whole thing, I was getting tested, like, every other day.
Wait, here's the thing. Okay, so I went to NAC to go, well, I was in NAC and I got tested there. Like, the last time I was tested and I tested negative. Tell me why at the the clinic, the receptionist isn't wearing a mask. And I was like, yo, are you serious?
Dude, it's ridiculous, the, like, places that you go where people aren't wearing masks.
Well, here's the thing, man. Like, there's people that are coming here that are going to be positive. Like, it's not if, it's going to happen.
Yeah. Because
you're essentially a testing center. People are coming here for this. What are you doing? Like,
well, here's the thing, technically, though. I mean, technically, the mask isn't to, like, not get it. It's to not pass it, right?
Exactly. So, like, if she's not doing that, like imagine if she,
it would just
if
more
she's-
so be if she had it and was passing it technically, right?
because she could be like asymptomatic and not know,
Yeah.
and then like go to the store or like go do something with her kids if she has kids, or like
or their
or
kids,
see family,
or give it to her kids, and then her kids who may not get it become carriers, and that's the whole like
or like you see family and
yeah, it's been a mess, man. Just trying to like do things safe, but then also we live in Texas,
sure,
so like no one cares.
yeah. I do like that we have a lot more open space though.
Yeah,
I couldn't imagine being in quarantine, living in New York or living in Los Angeles, somewhere like that, where it's like everyone's. I mean, granted, we do live in Houston. Houston has a lot of population, so, but it feels we're not like on top of each other.
yeah, no, we definitely have like backyards and shit, which is cool. That's like the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
But we got a little off track. We're going to take a break.
Yeah, no, we really are going to take a break.
So yeah, we're going to take a break and we're going to be right back.
Big Spapuru.
Dude, since being married, it's so like, because you're going to get there sometime soon, right? And then even so much more for you because like, with the way your whole values are and stuff, right?
Okay.
But even for me, as sinning as I usually be, dog, the first non-sinning nut, dog.
I hate that you worded it that way.
It's literally like it feels holy. Like it feels like you're not doing anything wrong.
Because you're not.
Exactly. But it's like, even me like not ever having cared.
Sure.
It was like, it felt spiritual.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just saying, dog, there's something about being married. That's the kind of shit where you're like, oh shit, marriage kind of cool.
Exactly. And that's what, like, I know we were going to wait to talk about religion, but I just want to bring it up. I think, like, when people think about religion, they think it's this big book and there's this God that's up in heaven and he's like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, because I'm God and I'm in charge. But it's really not like that. I see it more of like, here's a guide on how you can live your life. I am a good sovereign God that loves you, that cares for you, that wants to see you like flourish and have a good life. And even with that, it's just like, when I feel like when the Bible says don't do this, it's not don't do this because I say so. It's don't do this because you're gonna eventually have it's gonna lead to something better. In regards to like sex before marriage and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel, because I feel like I personally see it in kind of what you say, but like in a spiritual sense where like, lately I've been kind of feeling more spiritual somehow. Okay. Like I've been feeling a little more connected.
Yeah.
I've been feeling like I just want to kind of find out more. Like I've definitely been in and out of church a lot, but I don't know if it's an age thing. I don't know if it's, you've seen my ebbs and flows with religion.
I mean, you've seen mine.
Definitely. I've seen your ebbs and flows with religion. And it's weird to kind of like now, as you get older and as I feel more just spiritual, more things seem more than just here.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So then you kind of have to just think outwardly. And I don't necessarily know if I would consider it like, Christianity in that sense or, this, but it just definitely seems like spirituality in the Christian backing. You know what I mean? Like that is like, it is all based on the Bible. It is all based on like Jesus. It is all based on those things. But then I also don't know if I see it as like Jesus. Like I don't know if I see Jesus as like Jesus or if I see him as like just this aura or whatnot. You know what I mean? I think that it's hard for people to understand the concept of something that's not human. So I think we have to put these human attachments to it. And I think that's what makes Christianity what it is personally, like in this way where it's like, okay, people won't understand the objectivity of maybe like a mother nature or maybe like a almighty thing that obviously like this world, sure, the Big Bang could be a thing. Sure, these other things can be a thing. But even what puts everything in motion? You know what I mean? Like what makes all this happen to be what it is? To now we're in a room now. Sure. It started off from whatever to now we are able to like change our surroundings, and it just all seems a little too perfect that something had to be in place.
Exactly. And like that's kind of how I think about it too. Like I struggled a lot growing up. Like I grew up Christian my whole life, like Baptist, and it was like always like my mom's very much like, this is this way because I say, and don't question what I'm saying because I'm your mom. Which is not my personality at all. I'm always like, why,
Yeah,
but why?
Yeah.
And like kind of challenging it. So when I got to the age that you met me at, that's when I was like at my tipping point of like questioning everything. Do I really believe this because my parents say it, or do I believe it because I genuinely believe this? And it took me walking away from everything, making a lot of mistakes along the road to realize like, no, I genuinely do believe. I'll say it like this: like I don't think that I found Jesus. I think Jesus found me, because I wasn't trying to like do any of that. I was trying to like find fulfillment in other places. Realized that I wasn't really going to get fulfilled there. Like I found my true fulfillment and my true identity in this thing. And for those of you that are wondering, check it out. And if you don't want to, that's cool too.
I have another thing with that where I've had this theory that maybe religion isn't what we think it should be, in the sense that religion might be for some people and may not be for others. And that's hard for religious people to think, because they're like, no, this is the truth, this is the way, this is it, and anyone who isn't seeing this is not
wrong.
living in the truth, and is wrong.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think like religion isn't necessarily something that is right or wrong, but maybe like some people need religion and other people feel like they don't. Some people find their identity and in this community, in this way of living, and that's the best version of themselves. And some other people might have the best version of themselves in other ways that doesn't tie to religion, and actually maybe ties to maybe another religion, or maybe a sort of activism where they feel like they're doing good in other ways. Because then there's that debate where I think people feel like, if you're Steve Harvey, they assume that if you don't have religion, or Christianity specifically, then you don't have morality. And sometimes I think people feel that they need to find their morality in religion, and some other people don't.
And see, that's the thing where like I feel like also throughout time, I mean, we're all broken people. We all make mistakes. Nobody here is perfect. There is no amount of thing that can ever make you, you could always strive to be a better person, but at the end of the day, like, we are human. We're imperfect. And you have like these religions, whether it's Christianity or different sections of Christianity, where they've done some things over the years that might not have been the best to handle. And I think like people look at that outside and they're like, well, like you guys talk about being all this like high and mighty stuff, but at the end of the day, you're just as broken. And I think it's like, the church should really focus more on being like, no, look, we're all broken. We're all working to getting together. And the only person that can lead us there is God. And everyone should like try to point each other towards Jesus. But I think, and kind of going into what one of your topics is the thing with abortion, right? Where
we can go into that, but we misread. I was really more just kind of find out why like Christians specifically have this thing where like they feel like COVID is just this thing that doesn't apply to them, and that God's going to protect them, and that they should just keep on having like full services, full gatherings, because like God's behind them, and because they're going for them.
And that to me, that's just risky. I mean, like, yes, God protects you. Yes, God is sovereign, but you also, like, at the same time, you have choices. We all have free will. And like, that's like if I say I'm going to drive 100 miles an hour with my eyes closed and God's going to protect me. That's foolish, and that's reckless, and that's not wise. So, I mean, that's kind of how I feel about that. Like, I think you can have services if they're like small and it's like people who are like, you checking temperatures, things like that. If people are masked up, um, making sure that there's like, distance between people. But like, yeah, man, I don't know. It's like if you really believe that to its core, then like don't take care of your health. Like don't eat whatever you want.
My thing with it specifically, it's funny because, okay, like you think about it in that story where that, I mean, I'm not the best at the Bible, but there is that story where that dude's just chilling on that tree or whatever, and like the water's coming up and all this kind of stuff. Like he's about to drown or something. And like he asked God to save him, or God said he was going to save him or something. And then like a boat came up and was like, dog, you need help? And he was like, nah, I'm cool. God's going to come save me. Like it's all good. Then like someone else came and was like, hey, dog, you straight? He was like, oh, I'm chilling because God's going to come save me.
Yeah.
And then someone else came and they were like, hey, yo, you straight? He was like, oh yeah, no, like God's going to save me. Like I'm cool. And then he drowns and goes to heaven and was like, hey, yo, God, I thought you were going to save me. And then he was like, dog, I sent like 3 people down there to be like, are you straight? Like, why do we feel, or not we, I mean, I don't know. Why do Christians feel that you have to battle science? Like, why does it have to be religion versus science? Can we not act like maybe what the scientists are saying are messages?
Or proves like God.
Oh, yeah,
like,
you know what I mean? Or maybe
yeah.
like maybe God's like, hey, yo, can y'all go tell like these people that, y'all just need to wear masks and y'all are going to be straight? And they're like, no, but God's going to protect me. Like, I really feel like...
I think there's like, with everything, I think there's like, there is like a higher, like, I don't know, but like, there's people that think, a lot of things, and I think that we can pick at the ones that are the loudest at sometimes, and for some reason, the ones that are the loudest at times aren't the ones with the best message. But, yeah, man, like, I think like, and I love this because this is what my fiance says. She said, because she's about to graduate from nursing school. Shout out. And she said, she's like, the reason I love the human body so much is because like, if you really get to know the ins and outs of it, there is no way that God's not real. Like there's so many things that is like so intentional with our bodies that if one thing is off, like you're done, or like you're messed up. Or even think about like, have you ever heard Dad said this to me, and I didn't really think about it until like I just sat down and actually like thought about it. But because we both wore glasses and we were like talking about how our it's kind of annoying with a mask and it's like foggy. Then he's like, like what's so interesting about God? Like he's like, how come our eyes never get foggy?
That is wild, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I mean, because it's not glass, right? Can only glass fog? I don't know.
Sure,
Can water fog?
Yeah.
Like, why don't our eyes ever freeze?
That too.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, because if it's water, then it's wet. Like, imagine just going
I don't know
outside.
the science about it.
Imagine
like,
you just going outside and just,
Exactly. So it's like stuff like that, like, and I don't know, man. I wish people would be wise with what they say. And again, it's sad, like, the ones that are being louder right now are the ones saying some wacky stuff.
And I think that's why they're loud, because if you see them, it's like Twitter. If you see somebody say something outlandish, you're like, whoa. Makes you look at it. Even in media now, like it just matters. Yeah, it just matters who says something that people disagree with. Like with Facebook, you're getting fed information that you don't agree with because that's what you're going to respond to. And like that's the way those algorithms work. Like we were talking a little bit about algorithms. Like I'd be loving my algorithms because I don't respond to people on the internet, so I just like the internet to tell me what I want to buy and what I want to watch. So it's just like that. Like when it'll invoke your emotions. If it knows you and it knows, hey, you react when this happens, just like we're going to want to react. How often do you see something that you like or are good with and are happy about, and then go ahead and be like, I like this. Good job. No. If someone says something you don't agree with, you're like, hold the fuck on. I have some things to say about this shit. That's what's actually going to get your blood boiling. No one wants to just actively be nice. They want to be triggered. So then those algorithms are like, he responds when that happens. Oh, abortion, you hate abortion? You always respond to abortion. Let's throw some more abortion shit on your page.
But, like, I get it, and I've been thinking about this, but man, that's so exhausting. Like, I kind of hate that about social media, and I hate that, like, how it's, like, it's just trying to trigger people. Whether you say you don't get triggered or not, that's a lie. Everyone gets triggered. And, you know, like, it's just so exhausting, man. Like, to try to argue with random people on the internet. Like,
I truly, unless, I'm not going to say, I would only get triggered I'm sure if someone tried to say something directly to me, I would, more than likely get triggered. But when someone says their opinion and it doesn't align with mine, I may just be like, they're stupid. But at the same time, I'm also not triggered because I'm like, first of all, we don't know what the context of whatever this is because it's words.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, it's words that you're reading and then inputting your context.
That freaked me out. It was Bella. No, but, okay, so, like, an example of that would be when I was in college, freshman year, there's this app called Yik Yak that was, like, Twitter, but no names, just fully anonymous.
Yeah, within the college. Like, it was all,
it was
like
all the colleges, thing, right? Yes, yeah. It got so racist so fast, and maybe it's because I was in East Texas. I don't know.
More than likely.
But, like...
And because, especially if there is no names, you really want to be the loudest.
Exactly. And it was just like, bro, like, it was stuff that, like, I was reading stuff where I was like, oh my God, like, how are you a person? Like, how do you just say that? Like, that's crazy. And that's when people, it's that gets me. Like, it's just so exhausting and, like, so draining to, like, see, like, and to me, it's kind of sad too, like, seeing, like, the amount of hate in your heart to just do that.
Yeah. But then again, I don't know if it's hate.
Or if it's just trolling.
Yeah, and you don't know. You don't know the intent.
You don't. It's crazy.
So at that point, I just have to be like, why waste my time wondering and then getting upset for then... Sure. You know how many stupid things where I'm like, I like to scroll through replies, but I won't ever reply?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm reading people get triggered and then people fighting about something and then clearing it up and then, oh, sorry, I didn't... And then it always just ends up to, like, a normal, just, like, resolution to the point where, like, if y'all are going to get to this point, y'all just shouldn't have ever done any of this. There was no need.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the point. I mean, everyone wants engagement. You want engagement so that people are on your post or whatever. So you're going to want to say something that's loud so you make people engage. You get more ad sales. It's just the way of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I just try to be like, man, whatever. Like, I just want to look at stuff and, like, be entertained.
Sure.
And sometimes that shit's just entertaining.
Yeah.
I don't even with things that I truly hate, even with people on there that I truly hate. I mean, that's what everyone is. So many people who hate Trump follow Trump. And then their excuse will be like, well, I mean, I got to see what he says. So I can be mad about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's...
And see, that's the part that's like, that's exhausting, bro. Like, if you know that this is going to upset you, why do it?
It's addictive. It's an addiction. It's like, if you know that cigarettes are going to kill you, why do you keep on doing them? You know what I mean? Like, that whole mindset. And I mean, regardless, it's that thing. You know, it gives you that feeling of like,
sure,
oh wow, like whatever it is. Especially with so many people being so desensitized. I mean, to some people, feeling emotion at all is better than feeling no emotion. Going through your day of just like boringness at work. You know what I mean? If your whole day is just, I'm going to go to this job that I don't want to go to and deal with all this and just kind of live this bland everyday cycle. And then you go on the internet and it's the wild, wild west in there, you know, and you're seeing all this crazy ass shit and, whoa, what did they say? And, oh, damn, why can't I have that purse? And you know what I mean? It's this whole thing of all these things hitting you and all these things hitting you, and your brain finally, like, just, it's triggering, doing this, doing that, lighten this up, lighten that up. And that's way funner in a sense than just nothingness.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back and just being like, oh, I'm here still, I'm at work.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, for me, I'm just so lucky that I never got into that thing almost to a fault where like I feel like I don't post things enough. I feel like I don't, especially even in this, like how do I focus on marketing stuff when I can't even post? But a lot of it's because I overthink everything.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense that if I want to say something, it's hard for me to just mindlessly say something because I'm like, if I say that, and I think of every person who might see it, like, what will they think? What do they think? And no one's going to probably care, but in my head, I think everyone cares.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm like, never mind.
Mm.
And that's why I don't post. And I would feel the same way in a reply because part of me would be like, what if I say this and then they like shoot me down with something like that I didn't even think of and expect, and then I look stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather not. And there's so much of that where like I'm just like, what are they going to think of me on this? And what are they going to think of me on that? So luckily, I never got super into that. I never went in that. So I'm just like having fun. I'm just watching everyone, unfortunately, like go chaotic from social media. Yeah. I've never felt like I needed to take a social media break. Mm-hmm. Like so many people do that, and they always talk about like, I feel so much better. I feel so much like this. I don't feel, because I don't personally feel like that stuff. I mean, maybe seeing things that maybe I want might drive me, or might make me feel like maybe I should do this plan of action, but not that like, damn, why can't I have what they have?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I don't get it.
Yeah. Also, if you don't got it like that, don't try to live that lifestyle. Just please. Please.
Dog, we pulling up with the kicks, dog. We pulling up with the kicks we can't afford.
$20 at Marshall's. So
I'm paying these hoes off.
This shoe, this Adidas shoe. It's the we're both wearing Adidas.
Yo,
stripes over checks today, I guess.
Real talk.
I like Nikes better, but yes, sure.
I don't know. I it depends.
But anyway, this shoe. So I was at Marshall's with my fiance, and we're like walking and like looking at stuff, and then I see these shoes, and I'm like, wait, those kind of look like those shoes. I was already looking at them online, and they're like $90. And I was like, those kind of look like that. And I was like, that's weird. So I like walk up to them and I like grab it, and I'm like, wait, this is the shoe. And then I like start freaking out, and then she's like, why are you freaking out? And I was like, this shoe's $90, but it says $20 here, like. And then she was like, oh, you got to buy it. And then I'm also very frugal and a little cheap sometimes. And I was like, no, I don't know. I don't really know if I need it. But no, I bought them. And yeah, it was.
So that's going to get us into something that I want to talk to now. We sure. There's like a sneaker list that Complex put out.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that in a second. But I'm going to get some more water, and we're going to come right back and get right into that. I forgot you're like a legitimate photographer.
That's funny. I'm not.
But, I mean...
I know how to work a camera.
Like, you actually took photography seriously.
We both took that class. That's how we met.
But I'm saying seriously.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't. I just went to your class and hung out.
And then do you remember this? I gave you my pictures to, like, for your final. I gave you my pictures that I didn't use.
I was like, hey, dog.
Yeah.
You got any spare pictures around here?
Because I remember you would tell me, you'd be like, bro, I developed them and they look like crap. And I'm like, I think I like developed them for you. Like, I just gave you, like, I remember going into your class, because we had different teachers.
We had different teachers, but we shared the same dark room, right? No, it was two different dark rooms.
You had that, like, super liberal teacher that low-key hated us.
Yeah.
Which was weird, because, like, I don't know why.
Because in that sense, especially at that time, we were, if she was a super liberal, we were listening to Odd Future and saying slurs and shit.
That's
remember?
Right. Yeah.
So, like, at that time, we were the opposite. We were the enemy.
Yeah. You live and learn.
Yeah, I mean, real talk. That was, like, at our time when we were skating and, like...
Yeah. Trying to be edgy.
Yeah. So, like, we were being edgy while they were being progressive.
Sure.
So it makes sense looking back.
I mean, we weren't saying like wild stuff in that class. So I think we were just like, she could tell we didn't take.
I don't know. We were on some like Future Wolfgang. Bro. Fuck school.
Like I just think she just like, these kids are just messing around.
Because I also sat in the back with all the other kids that were like, didn't give a fuck too.
Yeah.
Because all the people that like fucked with her didn't fuck with me. Because it was all like the preppy kids that I didn't like. You know what I mean? So they were all kind of like ish toward me, and they were like, they would hang out with her at lunch and shit. So it was like all of them together, like, yeah, we don't like them. Oh. At least that's how it felt. And it was so crazy because I remember being like, okay, in my head, this teacher doesn't like me. I don't even do anything here. Like, I'm just kind of duck out. Like, I remember when all like the standardized testings were happening and stuff like that, there would be like a bunch of people hanging out like that didn't actually have the class to go to in like the lunch area. Mm-hmm. And I was just dipping out and going there because I'm like, what the fuck do I even need to be here? And she would be like having people search for me and shit. I'd be like, why the fuck do you care? I think it was like on purpose.
That's funny.
You know what I mean? It's like,
I'll never forgive you for forcing me to skip, and we did nothing.
I don't remember that.
Okay, quick story. You forced me to skip, and we just sat we just hung out in the bathroom, and I was like, this is stupid. I'd rather be in class.
Did I tell you about the time?
You didn't have your truck yet, so we couldn't leave, and your house was too far to walk to, and I don't know, I guess we didn't want to go to my house.
Yeah, that's so, that's so stupid. Did I tell you about the time that I skipped and then I felt like I got racially profiled?
No.
So it was debate class, and what would happen in debate class is that there would be a lot of the kids that had to go to the debate event or whatever. And it was 7th period, so they would leave during class and they would go to the event, and then there'd be a substitute teacher. Mm-hmm. And at that point, it's just the blow-off day with the substitute teacher there. So one day we're all like, hey, it wasn't even my idea. I was just with some people, and they were like, yo, we should like go to Wendy's or Sonic or wherever the fuck, we should go get food. And I was the one that had a truck. I'm like, okay, like I'll drive. So we're like, all right, let's just say we're going to go to the library. We'll all say we're going to go to the library to work on some stuff. We'll all go to the library, then we'll take off. And that's what we did. Everything was all cool until one of the girls tweeted about it, like tweeted a picture or something. Mm-hmm. And then one of the people at the debate event saw it and was like, what the fuck? And showed the teacher. And then we all got caught up.
Yeah.
So 4 of us, 2 white girls, a Mexican girl, and me all get in trouble. Mm-hmm. The 2 white girls, including the one of them which tweeted the photo and got us caught up, got like away with a warning because it was their first time doing anything bad and all this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. This was my first time ever getting called into the fucking office, and I got like a period of in-school suspension, and then the other girl got like a period of in-school suspension or some other kind of suspension. Like, we both got disciplinary action, and the 2 white girls got like warnings because it was like their first time ever. The only thing that like I'll say is maybe I might be reaching is the fact that we had different APs because like our high school was separated in different houses. So we were in different houses, so we had like different APs. But it's like, come on, like even with different APs, each one.
I mean, fair is fair. I would say everyone gets the same thing.
Yeah, it's like across the board, but like
whatever.
I was like, I've never done anything wrong.
I didn't know that.
I've never gotten like caught up for anything.
Yeah.
And like, because I somehow
we say we were bad, but we really weren't that bad. Like, we
and like
didn't care about school.
Yeah, but like we weren't out there like doing shit. We weren't out there getting caught up. We weren't out there like getting in trouble
or something. Yeah, we weren't like selling drugs. We weren't.
I was also super scared of getting in trouble because they're gonna call home. Like, I'm definitely like not fucking. You know what I mean? So it was just
the baddest thing we would do is just be late to class.
Yeah. Or just like bullshit while we're in class.
Exactly.
But like, yeah, and I was kind of doing it there, but I also wasn't like, and it wasn't like it's like those APs don't know me.
Yeah.
They don't see me every day in class. They don't know how I am. And
sure.
They just say, okay, so this and this and that. All right, you're going to get this. And then they see them and they're like, oh, you guys, I can't believe they tricked y'all into doing this. I'm sure it's that kind of shit. Like, I can't believe they tricked y'all into doing this. I'm sorry. You know, this is your first time. We don't want to mess up whatever you guys might have going on. And it's kind of like bullshit. Like, I'm just like, anyways.
You could have had stuff going on.
I could have had stuff going on. I didn't, but I could have.
You could have.
But let's get into the shoe thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you had hit me mad heated.
I was upset.
Yeah, like mad heated you hit me about how you felt that this complex sneakers list was not a good representation. Better yet said, of like where we're at in sneakers, maybe?
I just think, okay, just the number one spot. That's the only issue I have with this list. I love that they did this list. I loved when they were doing like the on their story where it's like, oh, pick and choose, like which one do you like better? Like, I'm not mad at the list. I'm mad at the number one choice.
So let's start with this one. I think I had seen, was Kanye wearing these?
Yeah, that's the one he wore because he was being wild.
These are the Nike ISPA Road Warriors.
Which I didn't hear much about this shoe, and I think it just got buzzed because he wore them.
Okay, but let's talk about. I guess there's a lot of tech here, but it's $500.
That's wild.
And this isn't they're going to give retail prices.
It's not aesthetically pleasing shoe. It's cool, and I like the technology behind it, but I wouldn't pay that.
So that's number 10.
Yeah. This shoe is sick. To me, I love this shoe. This is the shoe I was actually trying to talk to you about when we were talking about New Balances. This shoe is so sick.
Okay, so this is the New Balance 2002R?
Mm-hmm.
I hope I'm saying that right. But, yeah, I mean, it's like a cool orange shoe. It has like a Vapor Max back type of thing.
The suede and then how the blue like contrasts the orange. Overall, I love the shoe. I think it should be higher on the list. But yeah.
So this was number 9. This one came out in October 23. Then we have the Nike ACG Mountain Fly. So this looks like a Balenciaga runner / city sock. Like it's no laces, has a compression sock.
Trying to get that Yeezy tone.
Yeah, because it has that
with the sand.
Yeah, it has that sand, that super bulky runner bottom. It looks like I guess it's a mountain. So it's a mountain shoe. Mm-hmm. So it's an outdoor focused, all conditioned gear. Okay, so that's what ACG, all conditions gear.
It's a sick shoe. Like it's not. I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, so this is why. Acronym designer. So anytime that acronym gets into like a Nike, it's a fucking hit.
Yeah, that is. Yeah,
and I mean, those are fucking insane. So like, yeah, like this, look at it and think this is cool, but it would not look good on my feet. I could tell you that now.
I feel the same way.
Like it's just like the fact that it's gonna.
I don't think
it goes from that like fucking compression to like the big ass bottom. Like that's literally. I mean, I get it's a mountain shoe, but like this is.
If you wear that shoe, you actually do have to be hiking. I don't think you could just like wear that shoe.
Okay, number 7 is the Nike LeBron 18. I've never seen a LeBron I like. Same. I've never seen a LeBron that I'm like, damn, I need to get that shoe.
The Kith collab with the LeBron shoe, I did like that, but I just don't like. I know it wouldn't look good on my feet. It's like whole thing. Like I can appreciate it for what it is. I just know I couldn't wear it.
Like something about LeBron's. Like I just don't find them appealing.
It's hard, yeah. But it's more. I feel like the LeBron shoe is more of like an actual. Like if we played basketball, maybe we would appreciate it more. But for like wearing it to like as you would a Jordan, I don't think LeBron's shoes is there.
I don't think it's there either. Just like it just doesn't hit. It doesn't really like make the splash. And I mean, it's in the conversation. People talk about it, but it's just never something that like I ever feel like I have to have a LeBron shoe or even want a LeBron shoe. Like there's so many shoes that I don't have that I'm like, oh my gosh, I really wish I would have had those. Which is like my grails for some reason. Like they might not be that. Like it's like for some reason the Adidas NMD Bape collab when they did like that camo is like a shoe that I still want to this day. And it's like came and win and whatever, but like that shoe was one that just resonated. And I'm still like, fuck man, I wish I had that shoe.
Yeah.
But like I never have had that feeling at all with a LeBron. And there's still like Jordans. Like there's Jordans for sure that I want. I'm like, damn, I really wish I could have that Jordan. And like still to this day, and there's just never been a LeBron that I could even tell you like, oh, I like that. I don't even know LeBrons because they're just so uninteresting to me.
Sure.
We also have this Nike Space Hippie 04. This kind of looks like, I don't like it, but
I don't like it. I think dude, they did the New Balances dirty. I feel like they should be higher on the list.
Yeah, I mean, like this has that weird ass like croc type back.
I feel like this is like they just try to put a bunch of things that are like, okay, what's trending, what's cool, we're gonna mold that all into one shoe.
Yeah, I don't even see. I don't really like this. I mean,
Is it like a performance thing? If it's a
Space
performance thing,
hippie.
I'll give it to them, maybe. But it's not an aesthetically pleasing shoe.
Okay, so here's what it is. Maybe we should read. So, its space hippie line of shoes, which debuted this summer, is meant to look like something a human might construct with limited resources while stranded on a distant planet. Their design brief itself.
Okay,
The design brief itself is a reminder of how limited resources are here on Earth. So there's a story behind it, and it's supposed to kind of signify something.
But okay, if that being said, Nike SB came out with the I forgot what they were calling it, like fly leather or something like that for the Janowski, and it's a zero emissions shoe, which looks way better than that one, and I think that one's zero emissions too, but I don't know. That's just me.
It's just wild looking, so I guess maybe it's loud enough. All right, here's your shit, dog. New Balance 327.
I'm not a New Balance guy. I just recently they've been doing their stuff.
This I'm not a big fan of. I would, if I'm gonna have a shoe that's shaped like this, I'd much rather just get like a Nike Cortez.
I was about to say that. Yeah, I would rather have a Cortez over this.
Like,
I mean, maybe it's got a bet. I've put Cortezes on my feet and they don't look good on my feet. I think this shoe I could work with a little more personally. This is all just like personal on what I would wear and what I wouldn't. I think I could make this shoe work more over a Cortez, but yeah, I don't think I need this shoe. I
don't think so either. This is like a so.
I'm not mad at the colors. I like the colors.
Like, for me, I would just, like, if I saw this shoe on somebody and just didn't know anything about it, I would just think it's like some soccer kid. Like, that's just really, like, when I see this shoe, like, sure. That's what I'm going to see.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, I give it a little bit more credit than that, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
Okay, Adidas Yeezy Quantums. These are the
These were a big deal.
I don't like them at all.
It's an ugly shoe.
At all. I guess this was the basketball shoe, right? Yep. Yeah. This was Kanye doing a basketball shoe, and like I get it because I see like that LeBron like basketball shape.
The ankle support there probably.
But the whole way that it is, I mean, it's innovative for sure, but it's
you don't have to give every Yeezy like the top spot. Not all of them are good. Just to be honest, like there's some that are ugly.
And this definitely seems to be one of those. Okay, what the fuck? The Air Jordan 35 is number 3.
See, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, there's way better shoes that came out this year than that.
This just looks weird as shit, man. Like, I don't know how I feel about that just bubble in the bottom. For one, I have a flat foot, so I can't have something that high arched.
I could wear that because I have a really big arch, so that looks kind of comfortable. But at the same time, it's an ugly shoe. Like, I'm sorry, Jordan. It's an ugly shoe.
I'm not feeling this at all. Even the 23, the way that it's written, I mean, like,
if Jordan didn't play in it, I'm not putting it on.
I feel that. I'm really half and half on how I feel about this shoe. This next shoe here, this Air Zoom Alpha Fly Next Percent. It's wild, but I kind of fuck with it for some reason. There's something about this.
I'm not mad at it.
That's telling me that like you could wear me. Yeah. I wouldn't because it's 275 reach, but it's like
if I ran a marathon, I'd do it.
Like I could see, I think it's just because I saw this shoe and like pictured a fit. So like immediately I was like, oh, like this could be
like where XYZ, yeah,
yeah, like I don't know. This it's got like that super like lemonade colored bottom, but then it has like the bubble, but the bubble is dark green, so it just adds the contrast even from the sole itself, and kind of differentiates the front from the back. And then like the top is just like just looks like just some sort of fly knit or whatever. Like you could take that top and put it on a regular shoe and it would just be like a normal shoe. But there's something about this bottom that's kind of making the top work.
That green bubble is sick, by the way.
Yeah.
I do like that at the bottom. I like that. It's cool. It reminds me of like an Air Max or something.
I don't know if it's good enough to be number 2 on this list.
Oh, no. Yeah. Again, there's way better shoes that came out in 2020 that, you know, you could have exchanged for that.
Now,
this is what made me upset.
So go off, dog. The Adidas Yeezy. I like how I said go off and then I started talking.
Yeah, I know.
Adidas Yeezy Foam Runner. I'm just gonna prep it. So Adidas Yeezy Foam Runner. It's just now you go off.
Point number one, and the biggest point of all, it's not a sneaker.
Yeah,
First things first, it's not a sneaker. It's more of like a sandal croc hybrid.
The first thing they say here, is it or is it not a sneaker? That's the biggest debate around the Yeezy Foam Runner.
And I think that's really why they did this, so we would be talking about this. It's not a sneaker. To me, it's not a sneaker. Because at the core of sneakers, it's an athletic shoe. And you can't run in this shoe. You can't do anything in this shoe but like kick it at your house. I honestly, this is another one that I just think is straight up ugly that people just like because it's Yeezy. I would rather I would take the Yeezy slides that look like prison slides over these.
So there's a lot of bias in this pick, and as fans of Complex and things that they do on YouTube, Matt Welty is the one who actually wrote this synopsis and page on this sneaker. Okay, so we've seen him in like Full Size Run. I listen to their Complex Sneakers podcast and stuff. And it's number one.
I'm surprised he did that, though.
I'll tell you why.
Why?
I'll read the part. So there's all that whole thing. Then you get into... Let me get right into the part. Okay. The first colorway of the Foam Runner, a model filled with holes and sloping shape that has brought comparison to motorcycles and automobiles, has an all-white motive inspired by his wife Kim Kardashian West's Armenian heritage. He named it Arat after, or I don't know how to pronounce that, after the mountain which stands as a national symbol of Armenia and is the fabled resting place of Noah's Ark. But the Foam Runner itself is inspired by West wanting to create a pair of stylish Crocs. And he did just that. So Matt Welty, with his Armenian background and all his support for Armenia and all that stuff, really was like, I really feel what he did for this. So he, on top of the hype of everything, he feels the connection. For him, the story of the shoe resonates with him. But in actuality, I don't think it needs to be on this list.
Not at all.
Especially not number one. Like, I get it and all.
Could have, if it would have been like lower on the list, maybe I wouldn't have been so upset about it. But number one, dog.
Like, if we would have popped this off on the number 8, I wouldn't have been as mad.
Yeah.
I would have preferred it to be 10, but if it was 8, I wouldn't be tripping. But the fact that, like, when you see this and you're thinking, what's the best sneaker, this is what's going to pop up.
The fact that the Union Jordan 4s didn't make it on there.
Yeah.
Bro, that shoe is fire. Like, that's a sick shoe. And it's made a lot of buzz. Like, I don't get it, but whatever.
And they were talking a lot about that, and I don't know why it didn't. Like, I don't understand what even the thought process for a lot of this stuff was. Like, I don't know if each person had a pick. Oh, Brendan Dunn's the one that wrote the one about here, the Air Zoom.
Well, he runs like marathons, so like that makes sense.
Yeah. Because this is a true performance thing. You know, this is like...
I'm sad that he didn't put he didn't do it for the Bach boys on this one.
No Reebok at all. No Reebok on this list.
Yo, the Hot Ones Reebok shoe, I think I'm going to buy it.
Dude, it's hard.
I think I'm
Which one do you like out of the 3?
So the Shacknosis are like insane, but that's one where I'm like, I don't know if I could wear it.
Yeah, I can't do the Shack.
It's a cool shoe, like I like it, but I'm in between the Club C's and
the original leather or whatever.
Yeah,
the classic leather.
The classic leather. I just like how the classic leather actually on the sole has the actual wings, so maybe that one.
Yeah, I'm thinking I like the Club C.
Yeah.
I'm feeling the Club C.
They're both sick shoes. Like,
dog, okay, you get one, I get the other. That way we don't have the same one.
All right. If I choose to buy them, because I'm
then you're just going to like prop your foot on the table and just have wings up.
Yeah. All right.
Dude, man, I don't even know. Like, sneakers are one of those things now. Like, I love to see them. I love to hear about them, but I just can't be buying them like that.
No, okay, yeah. So
it's like cars.
Exactly. And I think for me, like, sneakers is a hobby, but it's not a hobby that I particularly, like,
participate in it.
Yeah, I don't participate in it because I know my situation and like I know my finances, which leads me to my next thing. Bad Bunny's album, his song "Maldita Pobreza."
All right, I want to get into that, and I want to get into some music stuff. And with that, so we're gonna take a quick break, but we're gonna get right back into it.
Okay.
I need to buy more cameras, but they're just mad expensive.
Oh, for sure. Another thing that I like, but I don't partake in.
It took so long for me to even just find this one.
Speaking of the things we can't afford and we don't partake in because we are fiscally responsible in the Zen podcast.
Yes.
Or at least I'm trying to get you there.
Yes, fiscally responsible Zen.
Fiscally responsible.
That's what I said.
You said physically.
Dog, I'd be physically responsible too.
All right. Anyway, yeah. Bad Bunny's album slaps. I really love it. But that song, Maldita Pobreza, just like resonated with me because it like filled the frustration of like being being poor.
So this album is insane.
Yeah.
What I like about this album is that he went in a way, because I mean it's still Bad Bunny and it still has all those vibes, but he legitimately flipped in a whole different direction than he did on the previous record.
I think he expanded what reggaeton could be and can be, because there's tracks on these that aren't quote unquote traditional reggaeton, like or even like Latin music, like
or Latin trap. I don't even think they're all Latin trap, really.
Well, but even there's like the song, like scroll down a little bit. The song,
that Booker T song's fire.
No, go up. I think you went too far. Oh, Te deseo lo mejor. Okay, so like that song, when it starts, it's like it reminds me of like my angsty phase when I was like listening to like emo music, you know, like just like the intro of it. So I think I really like how he played with sounds like that, where he just did a lot of genre like bending stuff, which is like sick all around.
Which is like the cold basis of like the last record, which is like he does what he wants. He doesn't have to put himself in any boxes. He breaks the boxes of what the genre of like Latin music is and started going in all the trap directions, and even breaking away from that and then going into all the rock directions. And then even breaking away from the standard norm of like what Hispanics view in society, and then going in like cross-dressing. Yeah. And like telling people to respect women. Yeah. And like doing all this kind of shit that you're like, whoa, like you'll never really know where he stands or like what he feels, because he's just truly himself. But this record is more an emotional record. It seems like more of an introspective record, as opposed to the previous record, which was more of like a, definitely there's, you know, emotional songs, but it was more of a party record. Sure. Like a party album. Like it was like you're gonna play that song.
Oh, we're playing those songs in our wedding, bro. Like
you know, like like those are all at the, like in all the clubs once we're able to go outside and stuff. Yeah. But like this one seemed to be a lot more emotional.
I feel like I got to know him a little more. Not in the sense of like, not even like even for someone that doesn't speak Spanish, I feel like you could listen to this record and really understand who Bad Bunny is more as a person, just based on the sounds that he selected and what he what he molded together. Yeah. So I thought that was sick.
And it's interesting. I know I was telling you about this. The rumor has it that this, like, he had been tweeting and saying basically he's got one more album and then he's out. And so everyone's like, what? Like, he's got one more album and then he was out. But then he put this out, which was that, like, that, can you read the title for me?
Las que no iban a salir.
He writes shit weird, and then, you know what I mean? Yeah, he does. But basically, this was like a little EP. This was kind of like a little quarantine EP where he threw a bunch of random songs that he had wanted to have, some freestyles, some ideas and things like that, and put it into this album. It's great, but this wasn't the album. So when he put this out, and then he put this out, this is like, okay, so is this really his last album and he's dipping? And if that is, how would you feel? How would you feel if he went out with this?
He went out with a bang, and like that's sick. Like that's a good album to go out in. Like it's a good body of work.
Do you feel? I know you know, as a fan, you'll never feel like satiated, but would you feel good closure with this?
Yeah, I think so, because I think about, like, because during quarantine I watched The Last Dance, and there's a part of you that wants Jordan to keep going, but realistically Jordan can only be Jordan for so long, and I think that's the same thing with artists, unless they choose to evolve. I think like Jay-Z has aged well with his newer record, where he like is talking about grown people stuff.
Yeah, when I've seen people like Nicki Minaj not age well, and it just seems like they're doing the same repetitive thing, and then they pass the prime and come down, and then it's just sad to see the legends fall.
Exactly. So I think like if he's being self-aware of like, all right, maybe I can expand other things of like my art, and this is like the last body of music. I don't think he would. Maybe he might not quit music, but like maybe he might do features, or I don't know. But like whatever, man. Like all that being said, I think that's a good album to go out on.
I just see he's like the way his career is going. He's gonna evolve the career and just take over all areas because he's doing a lot of acting stuff.
Yeah,
he's like you can see, literally seeing his progression as an artist. You see his image drastically change. You see him going from like the bald, no facial hair, baby face, kind of like chubbier looking Bad Bunny from like before when he was really coming out, doing all this stuff, doing the weird hairs, doing the this, coming out with all these different clothes, the puffy jackets, all this kind of stuff. And then you see him kind of mature in that way, let his hair grow out a little bit, grow the facial hair, actually show different features, show how he can look different. All visually, and then even with the music. And then now, you'll see him. I don't know if you saw that live performance that he did, that live stream out of New York. It.
And I was sad that I did.
But even then, you see him like the puffy hair, like the thing you're like, what? And he's like in this big trench coat. Like the way he's able to even mold his styles and even mold like the way that he looks and the way that he is. For one, that's big acting energy. Like he's, playing all these Mexican roles. I don't know if you've seen him in like Corona commercials, and he like does good on them. You know what I mean? Like, he's like really out here showcasing that he's for one a superstar, and for two, he may be able to be like, look, I had this great music career, and now I feel like I really want to pursue my acting career. Yeah, and I really want to focus on that. I mean, like it almost seems like that's what Donald Glover did. Yeah,
exactly. It's funny that you said that, because that's what I was thinking about the whole time, because that's like, that is what Donald Glover did. He was like, he started writing for 30 Rock, then he did stand-up, then he did music, and then we went back to writing and acting, and it's kind of like, like, I like that. Don't put artists in a box. Let them do their thing.
And also, we also want to put artists on a schedule. Yeah. When, like, that's not how creativity works. Exactly. And that's like a big part of like a lot of like you have to be in the right mind to get the best product. And I was even like talking about this, like I had seen something online where people were basically like someone was saying that freshman albums are always better because that's when like they were the hungriest and stuff. And I think that that's true, but I also feel like you had your whole life to write that record because you weren't like on a schedule of this label wants an album by this time. Like you wrote these songs when you were going through things legitimately and you were like feeling this and you felt creative in this way. So then you wrote this song and then you wrote this and then you felt this way. Then you compiled this project and then you were like, okay, here's my project.
But then I think about Kanye, bro. And sorry to cut you off. Oh, no. I think about Kanye, and like that's like comparing College Dropout to like Dark, Beautiful, Twisted Fantasy, which is like one of his like best albums. Like, and I feel like if lyrically College Dropout is a better album, musically Dark Twisted Fantasy is a much better album than College Dropout was to me.
But that's the thing about evolving too. But also, we've seen Kanye does everything by his own accord, regardless. And Kanye is something we can't even bring Kanye into the conversation of almost anything comparison wise because he's just so out there and different, and the things that he does, and like it's weird because he sets the tone for things. So he will say, this is what's going to be cool. You don't know it yet, but it's going to be cool because I'm going to say that it's going to be cool. And then everything will fall into place with even the shoes, even with the holes in the shirts and shit. Like, he's telling you that you're going to like this, and then everyone starts liking it. And when he did Yeezus, like, people are like, what the fuck? And that's kind of like been the pivotal point of a lot of music and everything now.
Yeah. I guess you know what's a better comparison, and it's not even in music, but I'm thinking about like Kevin Hart. So like if you look at his stand-up specials, they progressively start getting less and less funny.
You feel that?
I feel that, yeah.
Okay. With that, I agree, but part of it then becomes like, with that, artists start becoming more themselves truly, and then they're just gonna be like, look, I'm a funny person and I'm gonna tell you how I feel, and it's gonna make you laugh, and I'm gonna have jokes in there because I know how to do this so well, but I don't have to be super goofy, super this, super that to try to get you to laugh. I'm going to now get to the point of my career when he's gotten so much evolved that he's like, look, I can now say what I want to say.
Yeah.
Like, did you watch his most recent special, the one that he did out of his living room?
But I know that a lot of people like didn't like it. It got like really bad reviews. I haven't seen it yet. I want to get around to it. I'm eventually going to watch it.
The people didn't like it, or the internet didn't like it? That's a big distinction.
I don't know. I just like I was saying that I think like Rotten Tomatoes got. Oh yeah, Sticks and Stones did terribly. I enjoyed Sticks and Stones.
Everyone enjoyed Sticks and Stones, but supposedly people didn't like it. Sure. You know what I mean?
I've seen a couple of the clips on, to be honest with you, for the special. I have seen a couple of the clips on YouTube. They were like funny. They were like okay. But in the way I think about it, it's like I feel like sometimes they put like the best stuff on the clips, and that's how I judged it where
if this is the best stuff, then this is probably subpar.
Yeah.
I watched it all, and to be honest, I mean, I just appreciate when people say what they mean. But I'll keep it real with you. I can't remember a bit off the top of my head. So that's how I know that like it didn't stick with me. All I could tell you was all the semantics behind it. He was in his living room. He was wearing. I could tell you what he was wearing. He was wearing like
the silk stuff. Like it was a cool fit.
Yeah, and so I could see all that. But as far as like a really funny joke, I mean I couldn't tell you. But the person who I think has been doing that a lot lately and like really digging deep, as we were just talking about, like Dave Chappell lately has been getting like, some people say the same thing, that like what he's doing now necessarily isn't comedy, but is just like him talking.
But okay, so like because I did watch the Unforgiven, is that what it was called? His latest thing that he put on like social media, and it was like a clip of him talking about why he left Chappell's show, all of that.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily funny, but the way that Dave interacts with the crowd, even though you're not laughing, you're like, "Oh man, this is sick."
You're engaged,
yeah.
But is it funny? You know what I mean? And that's where the thing is.
Here's the thing:
you could say the same thing about maybe Kevin Hart.
I know that Dave is funny, so he can be serious because at the end of the day, none of us can dispute whether he is funny or not, because I feel like he has enough to and can still do it. Like when he did the SNL monologue, like he did a lot of that, like calling out, and it's like I guess a little bit more dry, but it's still funny. Like there's some parts in there that I was like, dang, that's really funny.
Yeah. Now that SNL monologue, I think he killed it, and it was like, you know, he had a lot to say. He really like made impacts. That's the thing with Dave, is that even if he's not funny, he's making impacts. Yeah. And that's just a testament to him. Even like Bill Burr's, like, you saw that one, yeah. But I'm gonna keep it real with you. Personally, I think Bill Burr's been killing it, and even in that whole sector more than Dave right now. Really? I don't know enough about Bill Burr. I appreciate, like, I really liked the Dave Chappelle one, but because I saw Bill Burr's first, because it happened first, that's still overshadowing it for me. Really? Yeah. Like, just like the way he comes out, the things that he's just gonna hit you with that shit. Yeah. And it's like, and it's just so well done. I did love the call out. That was hilarious. Yeah, like,
because it's true.
sit down and get your talking to. I don't want to speak ill on my white bitches. It's just so fucking good, man. Like he's just a master at that shit. It's a master of emotion, but it's like the funny emotion. It's like, when, here's the way that I see it. Mm-hmm. When someone's getting mad mm-hmm. and you're like trying not to laugh and they're trying to be like, I'm being serious. Yeah. And you're like, that's what Bill Burr is, except you're allowed to laugh. Yeah. So it's like, he's like this angry guy who's saying all this stuff and like, what the fuck's going on with this and shit, and like arguing about this and saying, but he's just so fucking good, so fucking masterful at it that it's just like, it like, in the grand scheme of things right now, Bill Burr's the GOAT, in my opinion, comedy wise. Mm. Like,
he's really funny.
Like, with like the rappers, you'll have like your tops, but that might not be the people you listen to all the time. Mm-hmm. Like Bill Burr, like I don't listen to his podcast like I do like Bert Kreischer's and like Tom Segura's and like them, and like they're like some of my favorite comedians, but Bill Burr's just on a different level, and it's just insane. Mm-hmm. Like when he did that and just seeing like him work that room like that and work it well, because like as much as Dave like did everything and like was super funny, and I know this may not be the best judge, but like the crowd, like it almost seemed like he would lose the crowd in a certain way. You know what I mean? Where like I know it's divisiveness, but like,
but you gotta understand the emotional that was an emotional night, because that was election night. That's the day they called the election. Yeah. So like,
I know the feeling in the room had to have been insane. It's hard to.
So I think working with what he had, I think he did a crazy job, like fantastic. But I see what you're saying, where there were some parts that were maybe a little too preachy, where if for the live audience, like maybe he lost a couple people along the way, but
in the sense where sometimes I feel like, is he listening? Like he's saying, I thought this was a comedy show. And sometimes I'm like, I thought this was a comedy show too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, I don't know if this is a comedy show or if this is a TED Talk. Mm. Mm-hmm. And like that special, the one with George Floyd. And I know he's trying to make, I think he's on a different mission right now. Mm-hmm. And it's not to be the funniest person alive, because he already knows that he's there. He already knows how funny he is. Yeah. So he's kind of like, he's kind of like, listen, you guys want to see me every time I'm going to say something funny. You're going to see me, and I'm going to throw some jokes, but it's not all going to be funny. Yeah. And with Bill Burr, it's straight. It's comedy. It's mm-hmm. straight comedy. Mm-hmm. And he's got that. He's got those things, and he knows how to maneuver around them so well.
Yeah. And since we were talking about Bill Burr and we've been talking about SNL, my favorite skit of that night was the Boston pumpkin spice thing.
I don't watch the skits. I'm sorry.
I know.
I don't care. I'm like, I want to know the funniest thing is, with that in mind, Dave Chappell saying good night during the monologue. Yeah. Basically being like, I know you motherfuckers aren't going to care about these skits or aren't watching these skits. You saw this, good night. Yeah. And like, it's true. And I'm like, yep, good night. I ain't watching none of the other shit. I mean, I watched the monologue on YouTube. I'm not tuning into Saturday Night Live. Like, who really is?
No one really is. But like, that skit is actually genuinely funny if you have the time.
I was going to watch it because I wanted to still see some of the Bill Burr skits, because I do like Bill Burr. I wanted to see, because he's been acting a lot. So mm-hmm. seeing him to get into these characters and stuff.
He played really well in Pete Davidson's movie.
The King of Staten Island, so good.
Bro, first of all, that movie is really good. Super funny. They did a really good job, and yeah,
it's cool because
the pool scene is my favorite.
I know
that climax at the end when they're just like fighting.
Yeah, it's so sick. Like just seeing him in that way. I mean, go stream that shit. Yeah, like it's just so cool to see.
I'm gonna tell my mommy trying to drown me. You're like 8 feet tall.
Like that energy. It's like it's the fact that like that fits. Like he knows how to like. Yeah, channel that shit, and it's great, man. Yeah. Like it's just so cool seeing him do his work, like seeing him do his craft. And it's always funny to see him, because it's almost like, I'm sure he definitely wanted to do comedy and stuff, but that almost seemed like the second choice. Like he loves music so much. He's like a drummer, and like all he ever wanted to really do was play music. And like he realized, oh, I'm like that's not my thing. That's not my calling. My calling's this. And like now, but like every time he wants to like do crazy things, like for him, it's like, oh, I'm playing here where such and such played that show in 19s, whatever the fuck, and like I'm standing on the same stage that such and such's drums were on, and like that's where his mind really goes and really is. But he's just so masterful at comedy.
I could feel that because there are times where I'm walking in a plaza or like somewhere outdoors or like downtown, and I'm like, sick ledge right there.
Yeah, and like that old thing where you're like, damn, I wish I could have been a skater.
Yeah.
Why the fuck was I not good?
Yeah. There is a funny story there about me, but for another time.
Dude, man, like sometimes I wish like, man, why didn't I have a dad like Nigel that just fucking made me skate?
Yeah, that just like tortured me to make me skate.
Right? And then, then you realize, oh, wait, I think I'm better at this, or now I think I'm better at this.
I mean, I had to have a real talk with myself in high school and being like, all right, realistically, for my age, I should be here. I'm not here. I'm going to go to college. Like, that's what it boiled down to.
Let's pull these boards out, dog. I got it. Post it up here.
Yeah, it's in the trunk.
It is in the trunk. You got yours in the trunk?
Shoes? Yeah.
Dude, I got skate shoes here.
Okay.
All right, bro. Let's bust the boards out. But I think we had a lot of good talks. I think we have a lot that we still need to talk about.
Sure.
But I think this was a good episode.
I'll be back.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, once again, I'm Zen.
I'm Pablo.
And thanks for listening to the Zen Podcast.
Love you guys.